Good afternoon, y'all. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. If you're on Twitch, I popped on for a second. I'm trying to use a different studio. I'm trying to move away from StreamYard and testing out some different things. I was using the Meld Studio. I like the platform; it's really powerful, but I was terrible at using OBS when I first started, and so there's a smaller learning curve, but there's still a learning curve associated with it, and I couldn't get YouTube or Facebook to link up with it. And so I need to play around with it and kind of figure out what's going on with it. I like how it looks better. I think the stream actually looks better in Meld than it does here. And so that's what that is. Let me go ahead and get my settings right, and then we're going to get into the meat of the issue. Um, Today's topic, we're going to do our co-working live stream like we normally do, standing operating procedure, but also one of the things I want to do is since I wasn't here to do, I kind of forced myself to take, I forced myself to take about 2 weeks off because my wife pointed out that I work all the time. I work around the clock. Even when I'm relaxing, I'm working on stuff. And, I don't necessarily have an issue with that. That's the life I've chosen for myself. I don't really have an issue with um, the way that I work and the way I function. The biggest issue is, wait a minute, what's going on? The biggest issue is for me, I forced myself to take a little bit of time off just because I didn't. I took a little bit of time off just so that I could focus. Took a day off or whatnot, just so that I or took a week off just so that I could kind of reload. And so I'm trying to get this. Yeah, sorry, y'all. I'm playing around with the settings while we're doing this. I'm trying to take time off, and so I forced myself to take about a day, extra day. So I didn't do the live stream on Monday. And so this is going to be a combination of our co-working stream and our live stream, um, just so that I can cover kill two birds with one stone. I do want to provide you some information about how I do specific things using AI and stuff like that as an ADHD brain. Talk about some of the ethical considerations I factor in when I'm doing work, with AI and stuff, but also kind of explain my thought process while I'm using these tools to help me be really functional and accomplish things that I normally can't accomplish. So I want to do all that. Right now, my stream is only showing to friends, and that is kind of problematic. Um, I don't know what's going on. I might need to go ahead and reload this entire thing. So anyway, that's an aside. I'm also going to talk about the basic how to get set up if you don't have a funnel, if you don't even know what a funnel is, if you don't have a landing page and everything, and how to get started with marketing from the most basic standpoint. And so that's what this is. It's going to be a combo of co-working and me kind of teaching you some of the basics. And there's going to be a call to action so that it's not whiplash. You don't get jarred by it, but I am designing something, maybe a toolkit to help you get started as a marketer or marketing your own product or service or own business. And so I'm creating something, I'm putting something together. There's going to be a cost associated with it because I do have to be able to pay to host it and pay the platform and whatnot. But I'm creating something to teach you the basics of marketing so that you have that, so that you can have that and pull that up whenever you want it available. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll the intro. We're gonna get into this thing. I still can't edit my privacy. I can't edit my privacy settings on Facebook. I don't know what quite is going on, but that means that in order to see comments on Facebook, I have to have the privacy settings set to everybody. So everybody has to be able to see it. And right now, so if you drop a comment on Facebook, I may or may not be able to see it. Just based on how StreamYard's set up. And it's one of the reasons why I'm actually trying to move away from StreamYard, because I do find they've removed a lot of features that I thought were really beneficial for people that are getting started. with live streaming, and they still do have some, but where I'm at now, I need a little bit more than what I need a little bit more than what StreamYard has to offer. And I need something a little bit more powerful. And I don't necessarily like when people or when companies double the price and remove features. I think that's kind of low key. I think that's trash. And so I'm actively looking for other platforms besides StreamYard. If you're getting started, I recommend it, but um, the price point, the current price point, is too much of it's too jarring for me to go from paying one price point to paying double and getting half. That makes sense. Paying double the amount, getting half the features, not cool. So anyway, I'm gonna be real with you. When I first started out, I didn't have a landing page. I didn't have a funnel. I didn't have a CRM when I first started getting clients. Um, what I did have was my phone. I had a computer, I had my voice, and a link to send people to. And I'm assuming if I teach you how to start from the bare basics, you have enough of these tools to say, okay, well, I do have a website, or I do have this, or I do have that, and having a good understanding of the bare basics allows you to utilize the tools you have more effectively. Hope that makes sense. So on today's episode, we are going to do some co-working because I have some tasks I need to get done, but also I wanted to leave you with information that you could use. Okay. And so if y'all cool with that, I'm cool with it, and we can go ahead and get this thing started. Again, I may or may not see your comments. I'm gonna have to jump between here and Facebook so I can see the comments as they come up. Because for whatever reason, I'm not allowed to change the settings on my video in terms of privacy settings, and it kind of sucks. I need to be able to see your comments so I can answer questions. And so I'm gonna have to be jumping back and forth between here and Facebook. It just is it's always something. So anyway, all right. So first things first, I'm gonna just give you some bare basics of getting started to market your product or service. Okay. When I first started, the very first thing I marketed was actually Coach Mo Athletics. I am coming out of a job where I was director of a residential program, and I had stepped into a marketing managing role without any marketing managing experience. And there's a whole story behind how that happened. Um, and the whole time I was doing, the basics of marketing, I was giving myself a crash course on aspects and tools of marketing. So I was teaching myself coding so I could build websites, um, learning how to run camera equipment and take photos and stuff. And learning those, putting those things in my tool bag. But I really started with Coach Mo Athletics. And so when I talk about I Sell Words, that was actually the marketing department for Coach Mo Athletics. And then I spun it off to take clients. Okay. And the Unstuck sessions is kind of my process of how I teach people how to take control of their own marketing, get their business moving forward. But when I first started, I didn't have anything built, right? I had a website, a very, very thin kind of Squarespace website where I had the ability to collect payments. We were doing camps, we were doing basketball camps or whatnot. And so I had just started kind of playing around on Facebook ads. And so I had a little bit in my toolkit, but I didn't have a lot. And to be quite honest with you, hindsight being 2020, I didn't need a heck of a whole lot to do it. Okay. So not having all the fancy tools allowed me to get a stronger base of knowledge. And I stand by that. I think a lot of times we end up optimizing and waiting for a perfect situation to come along. Um, and those perfect situations never come. You're never in the perfect position to do a thing, if that makes sense. And so you got to make do with what you have. And so that's what this is. Okay. Um, I was uh, posting pictures of the camps and talking about the value the kids were getting and telling real stories of real people. And then just putting the link down and saying, if you want to participate here, it was really kind of a cut and dry kind of thing, but it worked. It was super effective. and we started getting people signing up and registering for camps with just a really simple, hey, do you have this problem? Okay, you have this problem. Now we have the solution. And if you want a piece of the solution, then you need to do this. Dead simple. Okay. You don't need all the extra stuff. And so I'm gonna give you three content pillars that I think are important for people that are just getting started out. Okay. Um, these are kind of general. So I want y'all to understand that this is really general. I'm trying to give it to, I don't believe in speaking to everybody, but in this case, since I don't know specifically what product or service you're selling or what industry you're in, I'm trying to keep these as general as possible. Okay. So here's a system that you can kind of steal today. Okay. Um, and these are different ideas of how you can kind of format your content. Okay. So one idea for content, these are content pillars. So one idea is what I believe. You're offering real unfiltered opinions about your niche or industry. You know, why people are wasting money doing X, Y, and Z, why this service is a waste of time, things about trends in your industry, people that, things that you don't like that happen in your industry. And you're trying to save people from going through those pain points. Like those are content ideas that you can actually use that connect with people. It gives you a level of realness, and it doesn't play the weird. It doesn't play that weird. I'm gonna try to be professional game. I don't necessarily 100% believe in, always structuring everything to be as professional as possible. I think you need to be as real and honest as possible without insulting or belittling people. Okay. The next part is you could do what I do, how I help people, and explain it in plain language. Keep it real. What your process is, and tell why. Include a lot of rationales of why you do what you do, but give them a glimpse behind the curtain about how what you do. Okay. And the third one is who do I help? So these are going to be testimonials. There's going to be stories of people that you actually serve. We're talking about the transformation that they went through. And so if you're looking for ideas in terms of what to talk about when you're creating content, talk about what you believe. You can talk about what you do. You can talk about who you help, and make them as plain as plain as possible. I mean, a lot of times you don't need a script if these are real stories. Okay, put down some bullet points on the outline, and there you go. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's got to be real. It's got to be real. Okay. So here's some formats that you can absolutely steal. A story post. I'm using one right now. Here's what I went through and here's what I learned. I went through being in the seat of a marketing manager, not really having uh, a broad understanding of a lot of the usage of the tools and whatnot. And it's how I cobbled together understanding to get things done. Okay. Two, a value post. Right now I'm delivering value, hopefully. It's something that you can say, here's a tip or framework I use in my day-to-day operations that may help you with a problem that you're having. Okay. And then the call to action. We call this a CTE, a CTA in the marketing world. It's here's what I do, and if this speaks to you, this is what you do next. You want to be very clear with your call to action. Tell them exactly what you need them to do. If people don't follow complex instructions, they don't follow simple ones, and vice versa. So I really want you to focus on being as transparent and as clear about what you want them to do with your call to action as humanly possible. Okay. So those are like that's the 3x3 content method for beginners. Now there's other kinds of posts that you can be doing, but I want you to start with these. Let's keep it simple. Okay. So you can do what I believe, you can do what I do, and you can do who I help. And then the formats are you can tell a story. Here's what I went through, and this is what I learned. You can share value. Here's a tip or a framework I use, and this is how it'll help you. And then, or you could have a straight call to action. And here's what to do next if this speaks to you. This is the action I need you to take in order to move forward. Okay. Early on, my link was really just the payment portal on the website. You know, I was fortunate enough to have a very basic boilerplate website, and I figured out a way to connect it to a payment processing. And so um, that was the link I drove people to. I didn't have this elaborate step by step funnel of you answer this and all these automations fire off behind the scenes, and then it shoots this email out for them to click and do all the other stuff. That's a little bit higher level. I didn't have all that, and my mind still doesn't think in a straight line like that. And so I have a very difficult time utilizing tools like ClickFunnels. I'm not able to utilize it because my mind doesn't work like that. Um, it requires a very specific process, linear kind of thinking that I don't really possess. And so, even when I do create a funnel, I try to make it as simple as possible and something that has all these trigger links, and you do this step and it fires off this, or it shows you this page. My mind struggles with that piece of it. So I drove them just to the payment portal on the website. That's it. Okay. Um, what mattered, it didn't matter where the link went. It was the fact that I gave people a reason to click on it. Okay. That's what's important. I gave people a reason to click on the link. Um, a lot of times we post these things that we post these actions or these links that we want people to follow. We don't really give them a specific reason that matters to them. We talk about us and what our goals are, and we're not talking about how clicking this link is going to solve their pain point. Okay. So let's just be cognizant of that. It's not enough to post a link. You got to tell them why following this link is going to make a difference and why it's going to improve their lives. Okay. Now, this is the caveat here. I'm putting this out there. I need y'all to grasp onto this and understand what I'm saying when I say this. Okay. Um, I do utilize AI, and I understand all of the controversy around it. That's a controversial statement in some circles. Okay. Let me explain something to you, and I'll be very clear about this. Um, I don't like using the term, but uh, you know, ADHD is a disability in some cases. Um, it Sometimes it precludes me from actually taking actions that I know I need to take because I get overwhelmed very, very easily in my own thoughts. And sometimes I get caught in the tangle of my own thoughts so much that I can't do the next thing. Even if the next step is evident, I'll get overwhelmed with thoughts. Okay. I don't use AI to pretend to be me. I use it to organize my own thoughts. So when I put stuff in here, I will tell it, organize these thoughts for me. Okay. Or this is what I want to do. Help me put it together. Okay. I dump voice notes into Chat GPT. I talk to it all the time, and it's all my own thoughts, my own stuff. If I put transcripts, it's transcripts of stuff that I've done. Okay. It's not taking anything from anybody else. It's just helping me. It's a language model. It's helping me. It's combing through the language and helping me organize my thoughts so that I can communicate uh, my thoughts in a coherent manner, because that's not always the case. My ideas come out so fast, it's rapid fire. And so sometimes a thought may not even complete before I'm on to the next one. Okay. I've had it help me rewrite captions when my brain was fried. Okay. And I didn't use it to replace me. I let it kind of extend what I'm able to do, you know? And I think a lot of times when we talk about aids that people use, um, we view them as a crutch. I mean, the even being the ADHD kid, and if you have an IEP, you know what I'm talking about. Um, Feeling guilty about asking for extra time, even though that's what the IEP is legally allows you to do. Ask for extra time on your schoolwork and stuff. Sometimes we demonize the aids, and we emphasize too much of standing on our own too and all the other stuff. I understand the moral and ethical implications of AI, and I understand that it's an ongoing and evolving conversation. But I utilize it because otherwise I wouldn't be able to function the way I do. And if I have to choose between being able to function in the way that I feel like I can versus uh, the guilt that comes with all the undone stuff and all the untested ideas, and the frustration and the doubt that comes along with that, and all the other negative feelings that come along with an unfocused ADHD brain where there's no outside tools to help you organize your thoughts. I'm gonna go for the controversy. Sorry. If you don't like it, then this may not be the place for you. This may not be the channel for you, because I do utilize AI to do uh, tasks that require too much headspace, too much brain power for me. And you'd be surprised. Um, sometimes, guys, I struggle. You know, even knowing I could have a task that I've done a million times, but in the moment, I have so much going on, I can't even think about what my first step is. And so sometimes I will just pop open Chat GPT, turn on the voice notes, and just dump my thoughts into it and say, give me a first step. Tell me the first thing I need to do so I can get it done. I'm sorry if people don't like that, but it is what it is. And like I said, I think a lot of times, especially in online spaces, it's part of the reason why I stopped doing a lot of, because I used to podcast every week. My podcast was Long Boxing While Black, and I talked about black comic book characters. I talked about social issues and stuff. And one of the reasons why I stopped doing it is because I got so caught up in what my word usage is and how other people might perceive what I say that I got paralyzed. And so when it comes to using AI as an ADHD person, I'm not going to go down that track, because letting other people define what's right or wrong for me absolutely stopped something that I enjoy doing. It robbed me of something I like to do. And so, like I said, that's what this space is. It's about the tools I use as a business owner with ADHD to get things done. And if you don't want to use AI to do it, that's fine. You find your own methodology. I do it to help me organize my thoughts. Okay. I don't have it generate entire things by itself. I feed it my thoughts and let it put them in order. Okay. And I spend a lot of time on stuff that I enter in there. So, okay. It's my thinking partner. It's not a replacement. And I use it to simplify my life just when my brain overcomplicates things. That's it. Okay. So, real quick, if I was starting over as a marketer, if I was completely starting anew from scratch, zero. Okay. I would find a cadence. And what that means is I would find a posting cadence, find something that you can do. If it's once a day, that works. If it's 3 times a week, that works. Do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Pick something that you can remember very easily. And use that method I gave you. It's the 3x3 framework. Okay. And I'll review it before I move on. Find one link. I use Calendly. That's where my link is to schedule an appointment with me, and I drive them to that link. I do have a whole website and everything. I'd still drive them to the Calendly link so we can schedule something, because to me that's the easiest interface to get started. You book a time with me and we can get rolling. Okay, and one call to action. Tell them one thing to do. Click the link. Shoot me a DM. Pick one. I even struggle with do this or do this or do this. I have a post that I made earlier this week that I'm hating, right? I hate the post right now because I have multiple calls to actions with multiple links in it. And I think the reason why it's not connecting with people is because I'm trying to tell them to do too much and overwhelming them at the very first point of contact. I need to pick what I want them to do, and then that's it. Okay. And I use AI to support myself, to brainstorm, to rewrite, to clarify. I don't use it to generate. You know, I use it to help organize thoughts. Okay. So that's what it is. I'm working on a starter kit for business owners that don't want 15-step funnels. And they just want to be able to get started with a few clients now. If you want early access to that, leave a comment. And then once I get it rolling, I'll spin the block. Once I get it built, I'll spin the block. And let you guys know, this is where you can access it. I'm going to throw in a couple of caveats here. One, it's not going to be free. I have to pay for the hosting for the site that this is going to be living on. Okay. Um, and I have to pay the overhead on that piece of it. And so this is one that I can't give away for free. I'm online live enough giving away free stuff and giving away free knowledge. I just need y'all to pop in. I don't hold anything back when you ask me questions on these platforms. I try to tell you everything that I can, everything I know. And so if you want free, then you got to jump on and engage. But if you want, if you want access to it around the clock, either you're going to have to book book me as a consultant, or you're going to have to download the link to the course or buy the link to the course. I haven't figured out exactly how I'm going to roll it out, but I do need to pay for the hosting piece of it for the content. Okay. There's other assets I can build. I need to know what you guys specifically are looking for. Okay. And so the first thing is how to get started quickly as a marketer so you can get up and running. And then I think I'm going to do how to record yourself. And those are going to be the first two products I have out there. And it's going to be using the Unstuck framework. It's not just for people with ADHD, but I'm trying to optimize it for people with ADHD. And if it's optimized for people with ADHD, that means it's very, very simple. And it's not going to be a whole lot of, it's not going to be multiple steps. Okay. One of the things that will send me running for the hills, this is about as real as I can keep it. One of the things that will send me sprinting for the hills is if I'm reading something, and if I'm reading a new marketing thing, whatever that new marketing thing is, if I'm reading it and it says, okay, so now then you got to connect Zapier to it. You got to connect the Zapier account to it. My brain will say, nope, that don't work for me, pal. I've tried Zapier. It's a great, powerful tool. My brain does not connect those things. It doesn't work like that. I have a very difficult time. I don't know what part of ADHD that is, but it's almost like it's like this weird dyslexia that grabs a hold of me. Because I do transpose numbers and things like that. Like that's been something I've done my entire life. I'm good at math, but I will flip numbers. And so if I see 36, I will read it as 63. And I have to tell myself that is 36. That's 36, not 63. So I don't know if there's something in my brain that will not allow me to utilize services like Zapier, however you want to call it, or the different automation tools. I like ManyChat because it's as simple as possible, and I even struggle with that. So what I won't do is include a bunch of, and automate it and do X, Y, and Z. We will add that on as we need to. But it's not something I feel like we have to include out the gate. Okay. So that's one. I'm working on it. Like I said, I'm working on the toolkit. It's really going to be a simple getting started with marketing when you hate marketing. That's what the toolkit is. And the goal of that toolkit is make your first money utilizing social media or email marketing. That's the rub. That's all I'm asking for. And that's the goal. That's the transformation. If you follow these steps, the goal is to push you towards being able to get business, get leads, make money utilizing those tools. And drive business with them. And so hopefully, I'm gonna have that rolling hopefully this weekend. I got some content recorded for it, creating the templates and whatnot, so that you have it. I try to make all my templates kind of plug and play, so you don't even have to really do anything except just plug in your own words. So that's what I'm working on for this weekend. That will be live. If that's something that interests you and you want access to it, leave a like. That's all I'm asking. Just leave a like wherever you're seeing this. If it's something that interests you, give me a thumbs up, like wherever platform you're viewing this on. Okay. And so that will be the tool that I'm creating. I'm working on that, rolling that this weekend. I've been kind of playing around with it the last couple of weeks. It's something I want to get out there. So that's what you're going to be seeing. Okay. So I'm going to hit the 3x3 framework one more time, and then we're going to go into our co-working stuff because I got some tasks I need to get done. Okay. This is my 3x3 method for beginners. So I want you to steal this. I want you to clip this. I want you to write this down. Whatever you need to do to have this in your memory. Okay. Matter of fact, I'm going to copy and paste it. I'm going to cut and paste it just so that you have it. Okay. So I'm going to copy and paste it just so that you can have it in the comments, because I want you to be able to copy and paste this stuff and utilize this stuff, because, it's super simple. So that's in the comments. Use this 3x3 framework, and I'll run it down here. Okay. This is what you could steal. This is what you could steal. The 3 content pillars: what I believe, which is going to be your real unfiltered opinions about the industry that or niche that you're serving. If you have a contrasting opinion, if you're a personal trainer, you have a contrasting opinion from the normative thoughts in this the personal training community, you need to say it. Like, it's what you believe. Real unfiltered opinions about your niche or industry and trends that you're seeing. Your analysis of what it is, because you're establishing that you're an expert in that space. To what I do, you talk about exactly how you help people. My name is Brian. I run the Unstuck sessions. It's a marketing service for business owners with ADHD. I teach people how to get their marketing under control, and give them tools and tips so that they can, do marketing without burning their brains up. What I do, how I help people, explain it in plain language. Okay. Who I help. These are going to be testimonial stories and struggles of the people that you serve. Okay. And then here's the different formats you can use. You can use a story post. Here's what I went through, and then this is the lesson I got from it. You can do a value post. Here's a tip or framework I use that might help you. Okay. And a call to action post. This is what I want you to do. And be very transparent. Here's what to do next. If this is the thing that, if this connects with you, this is what I need you to do next. Okay. So if this little mini-sode connected with you, whatever platform you're viewing this on, leave me a like and we'll get started there. Okay. One of the main reasons I'm actually moving off of StreamYard is because I'm not able to post to LinkedIn. Like, I have to pick 3, and some of this stuff needs to be on LinkedIn too, because that's where I see a lot of people getting overwhelmed with tasks. Okay. So that's that. Hopefully you got some benefit out of this. Okay. I'm going to be creating the product this weekend, so you could see it. Okay. So today, what I have is I need to do some editing on a website and change an offer for a promotion that we're rolling out. I do want to get started on some of these courses I've just been talking about. I have some stuff written out that I need to get reformatted and organized. And so I'll be working a little bit on that. And I have an email and social media posts that I need to put out. And so those are the things I'm working on today. So what we do on this live stream is this: we work in sprints. I do little 10-minute sprints. The idea is, the concept behind it is, we co-work, we work together. Sometimes having another person where you're hearing them, you're hearing the click of the keys, you're hearing them kind of mumbling to themselves. If you have a task that's difficult to do, that can keep you locked in on the thing that you need to get done. That's why cubicles at offices work so well. Okay. And so that's what this live stream is. It's an opportunity for you to bring your tasks that you need to get done, and get them done. So that's what this thing about this, that's what this thing is. I'm going to see if I can add LinkedIn. Yeah. So it's going to make me add another plan to this. I don't necessarily want to do that. Hold, please. Because I need to go over to my Twitch and see what's shaking over here. Curious. All right. Says somebody's watching on Twitch. I don't know. There's always one person watching on Twitch, and I never kind of see. Uh, so I don't quite know who's on my Twitch and who's not. Um, I may switch off from Twitch and disconnect from there, and then add LinkedIn for that co-working stream. I might start doing that over the next couple of weeks. We'll see. Hopefully, I can get my Meld Studio up and running, so I don't have to pick. I don't like this idea because I used to be able to stream to as many platforms as I wanted to on this plan, and now I cannot. And so this is part of the reason why I'm moving away from StreamYard. It's too limiting, and going from paying $20, $29 to $50, and then if I want the features I had, I used to have, I have to pay $80 a month. That's crazy. So I know I'm kind of killing. Like I have this. I have the link. I have the link for StreamYard, bro, in my thing. And so I know I'm killing any affiliate opportunities with them, but I'm really unhappy with how some of this stuff rolled out. I've been using this platform for 5 years, and I was talking to I was bragging to anybody that would listen about how great this platform was, and I'm not happy about the changes that they've made to it. I feel like they've really hurt a lot of people, and I know they got to make money to stay in business, but it's the same company that ruined Evernote is ruining StreamYard for me, and so I kind of take that a little bit personally. And so I want to move off this platform so that I can stream to everybody at the same time, and everybody that follows me or messes with me can see me and interact with me. And so that means that I got to bite the bullet and move off of StreamYard. And so hopefully by next week I will be set up 100% on the Meld Studio, and I would have played around with it enough to understand the nuances and ins and outs of how it actually works. Okay, so ADHD moment. Now we're back. Okay, so like I said, the tasks I need to get done, I do need to let me go ahead and open up my Chrome tabs here. I do need to edit this website um, so that I can do this promotion that I want to do. And I have the copy for it too. When I say copy, what copy means is that when I say copy, that's those are the words that sell. It's I sell words. Copy are the words that sell. Okay, and so I have the copy I want to use, and so now I need to put the words together to make everything click. So, and I'm gonna get started on that, and we'll start the timer and get the ball rolling. Again, this is the sprint here. So we're gonna be going into our sprint here, and then I will answer whatever questions you have during the breaks. So let me go ahead and set my timer. Okay, I don't want to do this again. I'm gonna go ahead and set my timer so I can get started on my work sprint and work along with me. Bring the task that you want to get accomplished. If you got something that's hovering over you for the weekend, bring it front and center. Let's get it off your plate. It's not going to work. It's not going to clear out my weekend because uh, my reflexive thing in my downtime is to work on stuff. But maybe you can take it off your plate. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start the timer here. We got 10 seconds, and then once it's ready to go, once you hear the beep, we're gonna get started on it. All right, and we're working. Services. So that's $30. 30. So what? Yes, 27. We do $30 off. All right, so we're gonna create. I'm not gonna talk you guys through this. With the basketball academy, Coach Mo's basketball academy, one of the conversations Mo and I had was our core offering, our core service has been basketball academy, which is more or less you bring your kid in and we'll teach them what they need to know to be a good basketball player. And we teach them the basics. And my vision of this has always been like aqua tots or goldfish for children when it comes to basketball services. Okay. Um, and so what I want to do is I want to create a coupon to incentivize people to come with a discount, um, to come in so that they can enjoy our services for a month at a discounted rate. And so we're going to take $30 off. Single use coupon. Wait. That's not what I wanted to do. I can't edit this. You learn something new every day. Interesting. What am I looking at? All right. I'm gonna have to connect our waiver to this page. Let me jump back here. I'm curious. Oh, that's what the access code is. Okay, never mind. That is so weird. Let me go to forums here. Coming up on 59 seconds here, fam. We're gonna put. We're adding the waiver there. All right, let's go ahead and pause that. How you guys do? What'd you guys get done? Hopefully you're able to accomplish some things. I know I was. It allows me to lock in, and so that's why I like doing these sprints, because I'm able to clock in, punch in, and punch out. I think a lot of times you can get caught up in the mundane, and get caught up in the BS, and so this allows me to have a targeted time, and I don't feel like I'm punishing myself. Yeah, man. The only thing I ever get from Twitch is spam, bro, in terms of comments. It's kind of disheartening. Um, I think Imma probably shift my gaming and start just strictly gaming on Twitch. Um, Gaming and talking marketing stuff because it kinda seems to be the best use for the platform. I feel like I'm kinda robbing my, LinkedIn crowd, um, of something that they could actually use. And so I'm probably gonna figure out a way to do my gaming on Twitch and leave it like that and not burden my Twitch, not burden my Friday live stream with that. I'd rather game on Twitch and use it the way that it's supposed to be used, because all I'm getting is spam, and I really think that it's because I'm not really doing anything but talking. And a lot of times you can talk on Twitch, but you got to be gaming. You got to be doing something in the background. And so I work while I'll edit videos and play video games while I'm doing it, uh, just so that I can break it up. Because if I just try to straight up edit, it will bore me to tears. And so I may just start using Twitch just for gaming. Um, I don't know, but only thing I've ever get from Twitch is spam. So this is what I'm gonna do. Twitch, I'm gonna check y'all out. I'm removing y'all from the live stream, and we're gonna go ahead and throw LinkedIn in the mix. What's up, LinkedIn fam? It's been a while. The reason why is because I'm kind of limited in terms of where I'm able to do stuff. Um, and so I'm adding you guys into the stream because I think the Friday live streams are more beneficial to y'all than it is to my Twitch audience. I think I'm gonna just start using Twitch for actual the way it's supposed to be used is for gaming, and so I'm gonna use that to game and answer marketing questions and uh, save a lot of my ADHD content for these platforms, which is going to be Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And whenever I crack the code of how to do live streaming on Instagram. But to catch y'all up, I just did an entire mini sode for the Unstuck sessions talking about a very no funnel marketing system, and I really tried to strip it down to its barest essentials so that it's as simplistic as possible. And now we're kind of in the work sprint, but for those that are tuning in, I can always go back and rehash what I've talked about. If you're interested in that, drop a link in the comments and let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna get back to my work here. Um, Today's the Friday live stream. On the Friday live stream, um, I offer an opportunity to do some co-working. It's called body doubling. It works for people with ADHD. Having another person working with you in real life or even virtually can help you lock in on your tasks. So bring the tasks you need to have done before the weekend and drop them here, and we can kind of power through them together. Being able to hear somebody else's voice and know that they're kind of in the same struggle with you. It can really allow you to power through. That's why cubicles and offices work so well. Um, because you have somebody next to you and you can kind of borrow their willpower as they're powering through those difficult tasks. And so that's what this live stream is on Fridays. I did try to make it a mini-sode for the Unstuck session since I did skip Mondays. If you're interested, leave a like and I will relitigate or I'll talk about what I talked about during that part of the live stream. I'm dropping Twitch on Fridays just because I think Twitch is probably best used for gaming. So I'll pick up the Twitch and I'll be playing games and answering questions about marketing. But on this one, I do want to talk about simple things that you can do for a simple marketing funnel. So that's what we can do. And I'll run it back down. I'll start from the top. Okay. So when I first started out with I Sell Words was the marketing arm of Coach Mo Athletics. When I first started out, I had a very basic understanding of how to market, how to do digital marketing, and that that simple framework brought us a lot of money. And I think we underestimate simple for complex, and we add a bunch of bells and whistles that we don't need to. And especially, it's not beneficial for people that are just starting out. Um, I don't think they get a lot of utility out of all these complex bells and whistles when it comes to creating content that sells. Okay. And so, with that understanding, I'm going to give you a very boilerplate framework, and then there's going to be a call to action for a digital product that I'm building that will have all these templates and all this other stuff in there, so that you can have the same basic template, basic framework that I used to get started marketing. Okay. So basically, this is how I started marketing without a sales funnel. When I first started, I didn't even know what a sales funnel is until this day. When we talk about sales funnels, my blood runs a little bit cold because my mind does not think in the sales funnel way. I was one of the early users of ClickFunnels. Um, a lot of people have success with it. I think it's a good platform. My brain could not wrap around it. My brain does not think sequentially like that. And it was kind of it ended up becoming an albatross around my neck that I was paying $97 for every single month. Um, and it was something I couldn't make the most out of. I had so many false starts um, with ClickFunnels that eventually I just said, just go and cancel it because I can't figure this out. And I don't want to spend $497 to buy a pre-made funnel. And so that's kind of where it's at. My brain, when you start saying services like ClickFunnels or Zapier or whatever you want to call it, or even if this, then that, my brain has a very difficult time thinking sequentially like that. And I don't know if it's ADHD thing. I don't know if it's a mental processing thing, but it's just something my brain cannot do. And so I have a hard time with automations. I can do AI automations, and I'm teaching myself AI automations, but I understand how to create them so other people can use them. I don't know how to use them for myself. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So when I first started posting the very simple, it was a simple call to action. We had a very simple, basic website. It was just a payment portal. It was just, click here and then you paid and then you were in the camp. It was very simple. I didn't have multi-steps funnels. I didn't have, you know, different pathways and other stuff. It was very straightforward. Okay. And I still see there's a tremendous value in that. You don't need to add extra layers of complexity just so that you feel good about yourself. And a lot of times I think marketers do that as a vanity project. They create these elaborate multi-step, multi-chain, 15 sequence sales funnels um, to sell something when they could have done it in one or two. But it is what it is. Um, And as you start playing the game of marketing a little bit higher level, the more complex your sales process is, as long as it shows value, that does give you a competitive advantage because you can get really, really granular with it and really supercharge it. But sometimes people do it just to do it. Sometimes people don't even really have a solid offer or product to start out with. And they create these elaborate sales funnels with all these tripwires and all this other stuff. And since they don't know why they created it, they don't necessarily know, they can't really educate a client on why they need to do all this stuff to get access to the value. I think that I want to shorten the pathway to value as much as possible. If I'm offering a product or service, I want the client to be able to do the minimum amount to qualify themselves before we get to the value. Okay. There is a qualifying step here. There's always going to be some kind of qualifying step. Sometimes that qualifying step is click the button, take the action. Okay. If I word my copy and the post or the email the right way, it does all the pre-qualification for me. Okay. So I was posting value. I was telling real stories and just putting the link. That was it. And we started getting sales behind that. It was very simple. We didn't do a heck of a whole lot. What I realized is I don't need a full setup to start. I just need clarity of what I need people to do. I need clarity on the transformation that we're offering. And I need a belief that in the thing that we're offering, I need to believe that the thing we're offering has value. And a lot of times people feel like, especially they're ambivalent about sales because they don't really believe in the thing that they're asking money for. And that is a red flag. If you're selling something you don't believe in, then you probably need to stop because you're ripping people off. I always believe in the stuff I'm selling. If I don't believe in it, then I don't sell it. If I don't believe in it, I don't market it. And I think that's kind of a hang up for a lot of people. They don't really believe in the thing that they're marketing. And so because they don't believe in it, they feel like they're screwing people over. Okay. So I have a very simple framework. You should see it in the comments. But it's a 3x3 content method for beginners. Okay. Um, these are different content concepts that you can use for social media posts. If and it's just dead simple. Okay. So first one is going to be what I believe. These are going to be real unfiltered opinions, your expert opinion about the industry or niche you're serving. Talk about industry trends. Talk about things that you don't like from your industry. Talk about things that, people that, talk about the way that you see people doing things right or versus the way you see people doing things wrong. I don't like when realtors do X, Y, and Z, and I'm calling it out here. Or I think realtors need to do more A, B, and C. Or these are the trends I'm seeing in my industry. Anything that's talking about specifically your niche or industry and you're offering your real opinion on it is going to educate and inform the client. And people are fascinated by that kind of stuff. People want to look behind the curtain and see what's going on. Number two, talk about what you do, how you help people, what you do to create the outcomes for people. Okay. Explain it in plain language. Don't use a bunch of jargon. Don't use the industry jargon to show how smart you are. I struggle with not using marketing terms when I'm doing the Unstuck sessions because it's really easy to lapse into that. And it just becomes language that is meant to obfuscate and keep people on the outside. It doesn't really help them move forward. It's just useless chatter. And so if I'm going jargon heavy, if I'm really throwing a lot of jargon in, I am trying to uh, basically what I'm doing is I'm confusing my audience because they don't know all the inside baseball lingo. So leave it out, but talk about what you do and how you help people and what your transformation is. And this is also a transformational one. The number three is who I help. Talk about, this is where you're going to throw testimonials. This is where you're going to tell stories about the transformations that you've brought into people's lives. And some of the struggles of the people that you serve. Be real clear about that stuff in your social media post. Okay. And then there's 3 different formats you can tap into. The first format is going to be more of a story post. This is talking about what I went through and what I learned. Those are very powerful and engaging stories, and it kind of humanizes you and say, this is a mistake I made when I first started out, and this is what I learned. Okay. Own it. A damaging self-admission is a really powerful marketing tool, especially if it's an honest one. Don't make up something, but if you screwed up, talk about it. Don't hide it. Talk about it. 2 is a value post. So this is going to be where you share some kind of tip or framework that might help people. That's what this is. I'm sharing some value, hopefully, that you're writing these formats and stuff down. Okay. And number 3 is a call to action post. We call it a CTA. Call to action is here's what to do next if this applies to you. So basically, you're telling them exactly what to do. Okay. And so I rotated through these kind of like a playlist, and they're actually part of really what I do. And I never ran out of things to post. You could stay with this framework and remix it as many times as you want. You don't have to change it up. And it also makes it very simple to get on a cadence or a rhythm with your posts. Whether you're posting once a day, 3 times a week, once a week, you want to establish your cadence, and then you're always posting this kind of stuff. You want to deliver value with your posts. If you deliver too many posts that people don't care about, they will start ignoring you. I'm running through that now with one of the automations I set up. I'm realizing that it's boring my audience, and so I need to go ahead and turn it off and post something else. Okay. I only used one link. It's a link to the payment portal. When I first started, it was a link to the payment portal. If you want to get in services with me and you want me to consult with you, as an ADHD business coach, I have a Calendly link, and basically it's just so that you can make an appointment with me. That's it. No funnel, just book a chat, and we sit down and talk. Okay. So there are different tools you could use. You can use Google Forms. Use what makes sense to you. Use the tool that you know how to use best. Okay. Um, a lot of times people try to go and use these tools that has all these bells and whistles and everything, and they don't quite understand how it works. If link on website works, link to PayPal works, then use the link to PayPal, link to website. It doesn't have to be more complex than that. And understand it didn't matter where the link went. You just got to give people a reason to click on it. You have to tell them what transformation clicking on this link, how their life is going to change by clicking on this link, how their life's going to improve by clicking on this link. Okay. Um, I spent a little bit of time on this conversation. I do use AI to help me with stuff. And I'm preface that this show is for business owners with ADHD. It's for people with ADHD or people that empathize with ADHD, or if you have not been diagnosed, but you have questions about whether you have ADHD, or if you just have general trouble focusing and you don't want to do a diagnosis, whatever. That's what this platform is. Okay. And depending on where you're at, depending on what form you're filling out, ADHD is a disability. It the disability I have prevents me a lot of times. I get overwhelmed in my own thoughts, and it happens frequently enough that it can be debilitating. And so, even before AI was a thing, I used voice technology and language models, because that's what it is. The language models have been around since the 90s. I've used them to help me organize my thoughts. And so with my chat GPT now, I dump my thoughts into it and tell it to organize my thoughts so that it can be coherent for when I convey them to people. That's what I do. I understand that there are moral implications, and people have all kinds of really different opinions on it. And I'm not discrediting anybody's opinion one way or the other, but I do feel like I do have to stand on my square a little bit and say, I use this to function in the world. And I'm sorry, if people don't like that. But if I was the difference between me being able to make a living for myself and stuff like that versus me being in that analysis paralysis and being completely debilitated by my own brain, I'm going to use the tool that makes it work for me. Everything I put into chat GPT, everything I put into my AI tools is my own thoughts, things I've created, things I've worked on myself, and I just help it. I use it to punch up stuff. Okay. Um, I may feed it an article and say, hey, take a look at this article and summarize it for me, and extract some of the biggest points out of it so I can go back and read it later on, but the reality is I utilize it as an extension of my brain, not as a replacement to my brain. And I think a lot of times people use AI as a replacement tool, and that's the way it's marketed. That's the marketing machine around AI, that it's going to replace all of this stuff. You still have to have a human brain attached to it. The technology isn't quite there yet where it can be a complete replacement for a person. And it's going to be a while before it is, if it ever gets to that point. You always have to have a human in the loop. But I don't let AI replace me. I let it extend what I'm able to do. Okay. So that's my little stance on it. I know that people don't like that. And I apologize, but that's just what it is. It's a tool I use to function. I'm sorry if that offends you. But um, you know, I feel like it's kind of like feeling bad when you have an IEP plan and you need extra time on a test, and feeling guilty about asking for the extra time on the test. So, coming off my soapbox, if I was to start over today, I would pick a cadence. I would pick either I'm posting once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, once a month, whatever. Find something that works for me and then use that 3x3 framework I gave you a little bit earlier. Find one link. If it's a Calendly where you're a consultant or you do your services by appointment, use that. It's dead simple. All they got to do is just click the link and they're in services with you. Okay. Use use the CTA in every post. Some kind of call to action. Tell them what to do. Even if it's just like this channel for more content like this. You want to give them a call to action. Be very transparent on what that is. Okay. DM me, click the link, tell them exactly what they need to do. Okay. And the tip I would say, and you could take it however you want to. I only use AI to support, to brainstorm, rewrite, and clarify. I don't really use it to generate things that are original. I use it to reformat my own thinking. Okay. So I'm working on a starter kit for business owners who don't want 15-step funnels. There's going to be a cost associated with it. 2 reasons why. One, I have to be able to pay for the hosting on this thing. Like the service I'm using is not free, and it has to be able to pay for itself. I've made that mistake of just trying to donate it out of my own goodwill, and that doesn't work. The other reason is when people, I know from business experience, and I know people feel some kind of way about this, but I'm gonna tell you, through 15 years of doing this, people value things that they pay for more than they value things they don't pay for. If I put this information in there, I do see it as valuable. The only way I could get you to see it as valuable in a lot of cases is if I make you pay for it. If I just give it for free, sometimes people take action. A lot of times they don't. And then they'll end up paying somebody to tell them the exact same thing that I've been telling them. I've experienced it in my real life. Now, if you do want free, I'm here Monday and Friday. I'm actually here on Tuesdays too. Pop on to any one of these live streams I'm on and ask me questions. I never hold anything back in any of my live streams. I tell you exactly what I know. And if I don't know, I say I don't know. But if you want free, pop in. Yeah, that's the call to action. I'm on Tuesdays at 10:30. I'm on the lot. I'm on. You can find me here. Mondays, 1:30. I'm gonna be live again. I've had a couple of things happen, but I'm gonna be live again on Mondays. Fridays around noontime after lunch, I'm on the live, and we go till it's finished. Okay, these are times you can pop in and ask free stuff, and at that point, if you take my information and utilize it to go make some money, great. If you don't, that's great too. That's fine. You're not ready to, but if I'm gonna make this toolkit, there's going to be a cost associated with it, because if I don't charge for it, I've learned that people don't value it. People pay for things that they value. Okay. Tell me what else, what other assets you want, what other things you want me to build for you. This is going to be, this kit is going to be a simple framework. It's going to be a simple marketing toolkit to get you started as a business owner or brand or consultant or whatever. And it's going to be or a coach. It's going to be very simple on how to get started with marketing on social media. And so that's what this toolkit's going to be. I'm also going to do a how to record yourself toolkit. I'm going to be building those over the weekend. I have all the pieces in place. I have all the other stuff that I need. And so I just need to put it all together. I'm going to be building that over the weekend. But if you want more content of very stripped down, simple ways of marketing, let me know. And I will continue to think of new things that I can deliver to you, so that you can have benefit of them. Okay. But you got to let me know. And the call to action is like this post, like this channel, follow me, whatever. If you want more information like this. Okay. Bet. All right. So I'm about to log off because some of the stuff I want to work on requires a little bit of noise. I got some videos I need to edit and stuff. And I'll be back next Friday to do the co-working live stream. I'm thinking next Friday, I'm gonna really try to focus on just the co-working side of it, since I'm gonna be having my live stream on Monday. If I have it on Monday, I will be able to do my regular Unstuck live stream where I actually uh, is a little bit more structured. But what's happening right now is I feel my attention waning, and I need to be able to focus on this stuff that I need to knock out for this weekend. So that's what I got. I appreciate y'all's time. I'll talk to y'all later. If you got questions next time, pop in and say what's up, say hi, let me know you exist. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.